My next guest was one of the big winners this past weekend at UFC Vegas 46. Raw Dog, Brandon Royval, back here on the program. Brandon, how's it going, man?
Good, man. Did you hear Bruce Buffer say Raw Dog? That was I didn't even list it as my name because I'm like, maybe I should try to be more mature this time around.
No, man, run with it. If Buffer said it, it's out there in the universe. So I think you're good.
Yeah. And then he said it, and like, bro, I had the biggest smile on my face. I was like, all right, I love this nickname sometimes, man. I love it.
Just
Like,
keep it.
It gets me back to being happy,
Yeah, no, it makes sense, man. And before we get into this, man, congratulations on the win. I know, 2 in a row. I know you wanted to get back in the win column. Just first, how did you feel in there off 2 losses? You look like you were in control of the fight, but, it's one thing to see it on TV, but how are you feeling in there?
In there, man, you've seen my career. You've been one of the cool people that followed my career for most of it. So, man, I've had all first round finishes up until the UFC, it seems like. And then once I got to the UFC, it was second round finishes. And this is like, I don't know, man, if I'm not finishing first round, it's just out of the ordinary. And it just seems like out of my comfort zone a little bit. So I was happy to go 3 rounds, and I was happy to not feel good going 3 rounds. I could push the pace, and my cardio felt good, but it was like, I just want to get in and get out sometimes. And, I tried something a little different. I tried to slow things down a little bit more. Something a little bit out of my comfort zone, but I think I was successful at that. And I was overall just kind of happy with the first and third round.
Yeah, no, and I'd agree with that too. And, one of the things we talked about pre-fight was, this camp was unique. It was more, sort of honed in on the opponent, not as wild. Do you feel like you executed that in the fight? Because I did feel you fought a little bit different than we normally see you.
Yeah. Honestly, I expected him to do more. You know what I'm saying? Like, in the sense of like anytime I threw something, I expect him to kind of react. There was a point in the Matt Snell fight where Matt Snell was like, where he's fighting Matt Snell, and Matt Snell's like, he's lulling me to sleep. And it was like, I felt that a little bit where I'm like, damn, he's not doing anything. He's so patient, and I don't know. It was like an awkward thing because I wanted to draw it out of him. That was like my strategy, and he wasn't doing anything. And I was like, well, fuck, man, like, this is a little out of my comfort zone. And normally I would just go guns a blazing. And I don't know. It was a little bit of a uncomfortableness, but I was glad that I was able to kind of go in there and do a little bit of my game plan, and just kind of that was the first time I've ever had a game plan and a little bit of like an idea of how I wanted to go about it. And it was cool, man. It was cool. It was unique. It was a little different, and I'm glad I got to experience that experience.
Wins are very cool, and it's good to see you back in the win column, which is great. Now, I don't know if you know this. There's this video circulating around on the internet about him tapping in the 3rd round. Or have you seen this?
Well, I watched the fight, and also like I saw his hand move towards it in the middle of the fight, and I'll give him credit on this. Is like, I never let go of that fucking armbar. I've learned that mistake. I've had that mistake happen before, where I've let go of an armbar when I felt someone tap, and I let go of chokes when I had someone tap. I made that mistake twice in my career, and then I had to continue fighting from there. So I had to go armbar someone twice, and I had to triangle someone twice, and well, luckily in both those scenarios, I was able to finish. But that's a mistake I'll never let happen again, and I'll never let go of an armbar until a referee fucking pulls me off of them, and I never let go of that armbar. So it's like, he tapped, and like I watched the video. He did like a boom, and then he looked at the ref to see if he saw it. Like, he did a boom, and then clearly looked at the ref. But in between that, it was like I went for the armbar, and like I started to slide off right when he started tapping. So it was like he tapped, regretted the shit out of it, looked at the ref to see if he saw it, and then we kept fighting. So it's whatever, man. I got the win, and he definitely did a tap and like quick, like, oh shit, and then whatever. I got the win, and I never stopped cranking on that arm, so it doesn't really matter.
No, for sure. But saying that, I mean, had you got the finish, I'm sure you would have felt better about your performance, because like you said at the end, you don't like going the decision. Earlier in your career, you're getting finishes. So that would kind of change things a little bit. And again, we're not accusing him of anything, but did you feel him tap in the fight? Was that something that registered through your head going, what's going on here? Why didn't they stop this?
Yeah. I saw him tap. I could see his hand move. I maybe not feel it, but I saw his hand move. I was like, that's a tap. And I was like, fuck it. Like, I don't know. And then I rewatched it on video, because I saw it, but then I was like, maybe he did something different, and maybe I overplayed it. But then I watched it on video. I'm like, oh, that was a tap. Like, it was that one tap and a regret. Like, it was a tap. I'm like, no, I wish I didn't do that. And looked at the ref, and it was like, but yeah, I felt it. And then, fucking, I'm such a ADD freak that I was on to the next move already. It doesn't even matter. It didn't register. And then I was just like, must not have been a tap. But watching on video, I was like, oh yeah, he tapped. It was a quick tap and regret.
Yeah, and I think people got to realize too, when you're in the fight, like any split second where you're not thinking about the fight, like in the case of saying, "Hey, the fight stopped," that could be a mistake you could make that your opponent could capitalize on. I mean, we've seen this happen before in other fights. No references are coming to mind right now, but that's probably why too. Like you said, you just sort of moved on after that. So anyone saying like, "Oh, why didn't you tell the ref?" Well, it's because you're always thinking about the fight and trying to finish. It's not about taking that split second, because if you take that off, he could do something, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like I'm such a transition to the next position kind of person that I'm happy. Sometimes I'm an ADD freak. Even though I was trying to get away from that this fight, I was happy that I just didn't reflect on it at all, and I just needed to win that round. And like I said, I needed to get off my back too. So once that go missed, that armbar missed, or that armbar kind of missed, whatever you want to say with it, I needed to go on to the next thing because that round was important, and I needed to. I'm glad I was just like short term memory on to the next thing, you know.
Yeah, no, completely agree with that. So it goes to the scorecards. You're hearing split. What's going through your head? Are you thinking, man, am I going to get screwed out of this?
Bro, when he said split, I said a prayer. I was back to Catholic school when I was a little kid. I'm gonna start Hail Mary, and I'm gonna start doing all that shit, Lord. Like, please, please give me that. So I don't know. I closed my eyes and I was just like, all right, fucking, it is what it is. But damn, I thought I won the first, and I thought I won the third. So I was just
Yeah.
like,
Did you ever find out which rounds they awarded to him? Because I'm trying to even think what it would have been the first or the third, right?
it was the second round for sure. He won
Yeah.
the second round, I thought, but the first and the third were mine. And
Yeah.
it's kind of weird too. Is like if you score the first off of like I wouldn't even say that because like I like count. I was so pissed at my performance the first day. I went back and just counted like his control time in the first round because he took me down for like a minute and a half. But he took me down and just like squeeze, did nothing with it. So it's like he took me down for a minute and a half. The rest of it, I think I was piecing him up on the feet. But he did nothing when he took me down too. Is like he wasn't looking for a finish. And like that third round, I was backing him up, which is like the more important part of it. Is that the third round I was backing him up, and then when he took me down, I went straight for that go. I missed the go, and then I went right into that armbar. And then I was like, okay, even in that third round, if you're scoring like he took me down off that takedown. He was just defending submission after submission, and I had him in danger. And for me, man, that whole entire performance was about making my jiu-jitsu proud. And I wanted to make my jiu-jitsu proud on the back. I think I played a little bit too much off my back, but I was throwing up submissions, man, and I had him in more danger than he had me that whole entire fight. I always look at fighting, especially just being a huge Diaz brother fan, is just I look at a fight as like an actual fight, man. I don't score rounds. I just score on who's a more dangerous person. And like to me, it was like if there was no scorecards, there's no ref, and me and him are fighting in the street, I was gonna kill him before he killed me any day. I had him more danger. I was backing him up. He was just looking to win on the times, and that's how I score fights, anyways.
Post fight, you had a good interview with Bisping after. I counted maybe 50 I'm sorry's in that interview. You almost seemed like you were Canadian in a way post fight with how polite you were after the fight. But, looking back now, like you've had a chance to watch the fight. Do you feel any different about that performance? Even Bisping gave you some props about the fight as he was speaking to you after.
Yeah, well, I was honestly like really upset with Bontorin. I was like, this dude tried to make this fight as boring as possible, but it was like, looking back, is like he had to do what he had to do to slow me down, and that's really what the game was. I was thinking it was like he needs to be boring, and I needed and I was doing me. I was trying to be the fighter, and he was trying to be boring. But like, I think in order to fight me, like sometimes you have to slow my ass down. Like, and I think that's what's his goal, is just to slow me down a little bit. So I was pissed at him a little bit too. I was like, this dude's not even trying to fight me. You know what I'm saying? And I was so mad, and I was like, this dude just like isn't trying to fight. Like, and I was upset with the whole entire thing. And it's like, I want to get 50 G's. I still want to be a performer. As much as I was bullshitting you in the interview before, it's like, I still want to be a performer. I want crowd pleasing. I want to get pay-per-view numbers one day. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I was upset, but looking back, it was a pretty back and forth fight, man. It was more exciting than I thought. Like it wasn't the best, like it wasn't like the best performance either way, but it was more action than I thought. It's just not a typical raw dog crazy ass fight, back and forth, all the above. It was just a normal action packed fight.
How did you celebrate after the win?
Yeah, I had people fly out to Vegas. So I went and said hi to him for a little bit. But as far as celebration goes, is we'll celebrate next week, man. I'm gonna try to stay on weight. I'm trying to stay focused. I know that it's not likely that someone's gonna drop out of this title fight, but if anybody's gonna miss weight in a title fight, it might be Figgy. So I'm just staying close to weight, and I'm just waiting for a call. And they told me just be prepared for the next day or two is when they go into Anaheim and they do their test weight and they kind of see where they're at from there. And it's if Figgy comes way over, I'm the alternative. I already know that because there's no other option really, you know.
Interesting. Okay, well that's good, and obviously you have some insight as well because Moreno and you have the same manager, so I'm sure he's probably going to keep you updated if something happens, right? Not on Moreno's side, but at least he'd hear about Figgy, right?
Yeah. Well, it's just one of those situations. Well, I was going to do it no matter what, but thankfully I have that manager. And then also, it just the only thing that makes sense is the only people above me is Pantoja, who's injured, and then Askar Askarov, who's in Russia, and then Kai Kara France will be a good argument for it. And Alex Perez is above me, but Alex Perez is coming off a loss, and Kai Kara France, I don't know if he'll jump me in that situation. So it's like, and then also he's in wherever the hell he's from, you know, so New Zealand. So I'm the next option for the alternative weigh-in, bro. So it's like, let's just might as well stay focused and try to kill two birds with one stone. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Main event, Calvin Kattar, Giga Chikadze. I'm sure you had a chance to watch it. What did you think of that performance from Calvin Kattar?
The UFC was so cool, man. I was like, can I please watch this event? And they're like, yeah, go ahead, bro. So they let me linger around and watch the whole event. And man, Calvin Kattar is amazing, man. Calvin Kattar, that was awesome. And that's such a good matchup. I think a good matchup in the sense of like a kicker versus a boxer, man. I always think a kicker versus a boxer, especially in a small cage like that, is you can get someone on their back foot. You can take over that fight for sure. So Calvin Kattar looked awesome. That was the whole entire time. I didn't know how exciting mine and Bontorin's fight was, but someone was like, dang, I think they're still in the fight of the night from you guys right now. And I was like, what do you mean that fight was boring? But looking back, they definitely did steal that fight of the night performance for us. But he deserved it, man. He deserved all of that. I'm so happy to see him return in such an exciting fashion against such an accomplished opponent.
If you don't get that backup spot this Saturday at UFC 270, is there any other opponents you're looking at as far as the next fight? Because looking at the rankings, it's kind of a bit of a mess right now. There's a lot of people booked, and then there's, obviously you have wins over some pretty key guys in that weight class. Anything come to mind?
Yeah. I have wins over it, and then I have a loss over a key guy in that weight class too. So it kind of puts me in a weird position, but it also puts me in a good position that one, I'm stepping in for any of these short notice guys. I really want to fight in front of a crowd before I start doing anything crazy. So I want any of these short notice top 10 fights. I'm staying ready for that. But the only fight that makes sense for me is the loser of the title fight. That's the only fight that necessarily makes sense in the division right now. So I think that's the fight that's going to happen next. And that's the fight that gets me out of bed. And I'm trying to fight in front of a crowd, bro. So that's the way it's going to go, man. I already know it.
So rest of the week, just be on standby for, the title fight or whatever. Anything else you got planned? Are you going to, do like what are you going to be doing the rest of the week? Probably a bit of training, but not much. You don't have much of a scratch on you at all.
Yeah. So I have like a swollen elbow and my ankle swollen. I stepped on my ankle so dirty in that fight. It like swelled up real bad. Just chilling, man. They're giving me till tomorrow before I can start eating all crazy. So we're gonna see what Figgy comes in at fight week as. If he comes in heavy, I'm gonna go in as an alternative. If he doesn't come in heavy, then I'm just gonna start eating all the Mexican food in the world, bro. I can't wait. So if just depending on what happens, I'm gonna watch the fight this weekend, and then I'm just gonna eat every food I can think of imaginable before I start getting serious and all that stuff.
Either way, you're in a good spot, man. Congrats on the win. UFC Vegas 46. It was a great card. Brandon, if there's anyone you want to thank, any sponsors, any social media, as usual, I'll give you the last word.
Ed Cyrus, AP Glass, man. They're the greatest that's happened in my life. AP Glass, thank you guys for everything. And Brandon Royval, follow me, Brandon Royval on everything. And thank you for your time, man. I appreciate you.
Make sure to subscribe to the LowKick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.